Damn! Welcome back to the channel, you little nasties. I, of course, am your host, the Nasty Bee. Now, it's been a little while, hasn't it? And I will say that I've missed every single one of you, and I promise I will never leave you alone like that ever again. Now, today we're going to be taking a look at a very high-profile game on the Neo Geo, and by high-profile, I mean it's a game that none of us have ever heard of until this video. And maybe that's for a good reason. Now, the name of the game is Blues Journey, and I will say the Neo Geo is home to a lot of bangers, and I'm not going to list off any of those today, because I'm going to review Blues Journey. Let's take a look at this crap. Now, Blues Journey is a platformer with the same wish list as your pets, to get something from you or to kill you. Blues Journey wants to constantly take your life and take your quarters, as this was an arcade game and not an easy one. This nasty nugget was shat out by Alpha Denchi in 1990 in the arcade and on the Neo Geo AES. This is obviously an early Neo Geo game, and it's easy to tell since it looks like it wouldn't even hold up to some of the worst looking games on the Super Nintendo or Genesis, though it is a product of its time and I can't fault it too hard for that. I guess when this came out, it might have turned some heads with its parallax scrolling backgrounds and whatnot, but for the most part, this game looks pretty generic. It was ported to the Neo Geo CD in 1994 for some reason, and for better or for worse, it was re-released on the Wii's Virtual Console in Europe and in North America in 2007. At this point, I know it sounds like I hate this game, but let's go into it to see how I really feel about it. I might surprise you, but definitely stick around if you're some rich asshole that is thinking of dropping a few grand on a copy of this for your AES off eBay. You might as well know what you'll be getting for your money, but here's a hint, not much. First off, there's no title screen music. For a minute I thought my Neo Geo was screwed up, which isn't exactly setting the bar very high at this point. That's an odd choice by the devs, but maybe they just didn't have time to add it because they were too busy making the game way too good. I don't know, who cares? So anyway, the game works like this. You can jump, which is a given for a platformer. You can hit enemies with your default leaf weapon, which is close range and pretty useless, but you can upgrade this if you find power-ups. Seriously though, I'll be straight with you, and I think of badass weapons, a leaf is generally at the top of my list, but somehow this game just got that so wrong because you can make a leaf a really good weapon. But also I lied about all of that.
I just wish you weren't a liar.
They're shitty weapons and leaves suck, especially in the fall since I've got like 6 oak trees in my yard, and raking all that up literally takes more than a week. In fact, leaves piss me off just thinking about them, so we aren't starting off on the right foot here, but maybe that's just my problem. It's interesting to think that the developers thought a leaf would be a kick-ass weapon, but who knows what drugs these guys were on. From what I've seen, you can also get a fireball, an ice attack, and an electric boomerang, and those are all light years better than hitting enemies with a leaf because that is ridiculous. There are also items in the game that negate curses or speed up your character, but the game never really explains to you what anything does outside of the shop. I mean, I know there's a little bar at the bottom of the screen showing you what items you've collected, but they don't tell you what they do when you get them, so your guess is as good as mine what the hell is going on there. You can buy some items in the aforementioned store you'll come across randomly, and sometimes the item descriptions there are okay and you get the idea, but sometimes it'll just be nonsense like this one for the spike that just says avoid. Like avoid what? You gotta give me more than that if you want me to buy it, you fucking idiot. And you buy these items with flowers you collect in the level, which are essentially like gold coins in a Mario game. It's pretty straightforward. You can also shrink your character, whose name is clearly Blue since it's his journey. He wears what appears to be an ant costume because he's a goddamned freak, and since he's a washed up poser, he dyes his hair blue and probably streams on Twitch. Calm down, that was a joke. No, not knocking Twitch. I also plan on streaming on Twitch. I'll let you guys know when I do. Anyway, the shrink mechanic comes into play at least 2 times in the entire game to find bonus areas or avoid death in one particular spot on a moving platform. I honestly don't know why the shrink mechanic was even included in the game because it's almost completely useless aside from very specific portions of the game that could have just not been included since they are so inconsequential. I think it was only included so you miss a jump or two that requires you to be small, and you obviously didn't know that the first 1 or 2 times you died trying to make the jump.
Why does it shrink?
It just does.
This game wants you to constantly die, and it wouldn't surprise me if they included this shrink mechanic just to get 2 extra deaths and an extra 50 cents from you while you play. While you're shrunk down, you can't attack either, so you're basically begging for death if you stay in this form for too long, but I don't know why you would want to unless you just really like small things. I don't know. I don't have a joke for that aside from dick jokes, and I do have to save that for later. Now, your main mission here in each level is get from the left side of the level to the right side, which is pretty standard stuff for a platformer, and this might come as a surprise to nobody, but you'll also want to avoid enemies that want to murder you so bad. These enemies absolutely fucking hate you, and the enemies consist mainly of salamanders, squash, the vegetable, fat guys with helmets, snakes, dumb-looking dinosaurs, and pterodactyls, and some robotic versions of this later on in the game, and golems, I guess, for what it's worth. It's pretty much everything you would expect a late 80s to 90s platformer to have, and it's all here, and it's all pretty annoying because this crap is relentless. These enemies mean business, and they want to skin Blue alive and have a blood orgy with his corpse. I'm not sure what Blue did to piss off so many harmless and cute-looking creatures, but he's definitely the asshole here. And these enemies are just annoying, and they group up on you, and that's how they get you. I mean, look at this golem by himself here.
Hello, I'm a golem. I'm gonna get you, Blue. Don't move so I can get you. I'm gonna beat you so bad when I reach you, you little piece of fucking shit.
Yeah, this twerp poses no danger whatsoever, since it'll take him another 10 minutes to even reach Blue, but later in the game, there'll be like 588 of these on screen with 600 other salamanders, all destroying you and spitting fire while pterodactyls dive at you, and I honestly can't think of anything more fun than that. It's like the difference between one fire ant or rolling in a giant mound filled with thousands of fire ants. One of those is adorable, the other scenario is a jizz-soaked fever dream because fire ants are hot. Get that joke there? Because fire's hot? Look, if I have to explain it, it's not funny, you guys. Come on. Okay, fine. The enemies in later levels are garbage. That's where I'm going with this. Jesus Christ. Now, you can jump on these little bastards and send them spinning to kill other enemies, or hit them with the leaf and stun them, allowing you to pick them up and throw them across the screen and hit other enemies. Get used to this mechanic, because this is how you kill 99% of all the bosses in this game, except for the second to last boss that I think is a wasp, who you just beat to death with whatever weapon you have, and when you defeat him, he tells you he isn't hurt, and then wishes you well. Then he dies apparently without any injuries, according to him. Honestly, though, I'm glad he's dead. That's what he gets for being a liar.
I wish you weren't a liar.
So basically, the English translation in this game is horrible, and I'm pretty certain at this point SNK insisted on all Japanese developers doing their own English translations themselves, which is great fun. There are times in this game you'll need to make some choices as though this is trying to be an RPG, and good luck understanding what the hell is going on there, because the English is insanely bad. It does make it a better game though, because at least you can laugh while playing it. There's an area where you enter a hut and you find a woman that apparently froze right in front of you, or so the game tells you. If you choose to approach her, it asks what you want to do. You get some options to ignore her, call out a name, or set her on fire with a torch, which is reasonable. I called her by her name, even though I have no idea who this is relating to the story. Then I was kicked out of the hut, right into an enemy with a sword that killed me instantly. Great job programming this game, devs. That's not the only time this game pulls that shit either. Another hut, you find a chick that wants to play you in cards and asks if you know how to play. When you select no, she just starts dealing the cards and defeats you in seconds in a game you have no idea what you were doing in order to play. Then you get ejected back into the game. Like, what the hell was that all about? Why did she even ask if I knew how to play if she was just gonna be like, fuck you? To be fair, I've never seen some shit in a game like that before. It's like the devs forgot to program what happens if you select no, so the game just proceeds forward anyway. What the hell, man? Whatever. So you get 2 hits before you die, which is what they should have called this game. 2 hits and you're dead. Since you'll be getting so much of that before you reach the end, when you die, you don't respawn instantly. You do get set back, but there are checkpoints everywhere, and in that regard, the game is usually forgiving. But sometimes it will respawn you in the most whack-ass areas ever, like right on the corner of a pit. And since this is a platformer, you are expecting to move right when you start, so you'll just fall right into a pit and die. That's really cool. Also, this is one of those platformers where you can't jump through the platforms. You'll just bonk your your head on them like an idiot. You also can't slightly jump through them when trying to land on top of one, so platforming bits here can be a real pain in the ass and require specific and precise jumps, and a part of me thinks this was done on purpose to lead to more deaths, which would hypothetically lead to more quarters fed into the machine if you for some reason cared enough to finish this game in an arcade. Speaking of platforms, do you think these platforms are moving fast enough? I can't tell if they're moving fast enough, but it seems like maybe they're moving way too fast. Dude, like, why is it like this? Slow this shit down, man. There's no reason for this. Goddamn. Anyway, games like this make me grateful I've got a Unibio soldered into my Neo Geo so I can cheat my ass off with cheats, which I totally did, and I always feel the need to disclose that when I'm doing these reviews, but I would have totally quit if all they gave me was the standard 4 continues on the AES versions of these games. Yeah, I had unlimited lives, baby, all the way. I seriously couldn't even imagine not having a Unibios in my Neo Geo, as some of these games are ridiculous, and I actually do want to complete them, so cheating is the best option for me. Now let's just talk about the swimming sections for a moment. I believe there are 2 of them unless I missed some, because there are branching paths in this game, and some levels I wasn't able to play when I went through this. Don't worry, I don't regret missing them. In some levels you can swim, in other levels jumping in water kills you, so I'm not sure what the hell is going on there. I guess it depends on what kind of day Blue is having at the time. Swimming is such a nuisance, you can't just push forward to move. Unless you are pushing the jump button repeatedly, Blue will just sink to the bottom of the ocean like he's wearing boots made of concrete. In order to swim forward, you need to push forward and the jump button at the same time, and it's so stupid I can't imagine anyone programming it this way and thinking that it's intuitive. Just like with platforms, I feel like it was done this way just to be awkward so you die more. Not exactly a good way to make a game fun. And when you reach an end of the stage, you jump on a vine made of penises to complete the stage. You get a higher score bonus if you get the top penis, but there's lots of penises for you to grab onto, so you'll get a bonus no matter where you land. Either you get a higher score or you have a good time. Whatever happens, Blue is the real winner here. I think the dick vine might be my favorite part of this game. Onto the music. It ranges from annoying as hell to alright. Most of the game, it's just okay, but in the later stages of Mechanical City, it is so repetitive and annoying you just want to bang your head against a wall until you get a concussion, then take a nap and hopefully never wake up. That's all there is to say about the music. The story here is also non-existent, but some guy is bad and you need to murder him. The main boss is a guy wearing a purple jumpsuit and a red cape. He must be important though, since some of the other bosses simp out to him hard and have his portrait in the back of their castle. That's also all there is to say about the story. I don't know what the fuck is going on here at all, and I doubt the developers did either, as they just made this game up as they went along. Before I wrap this up, I'm going to spoil the entire game and reveal the ending to you in its entirety. There it was. It's a rapid-fire 9-second cutscene where the princess that I didn't even know existed until now is so indebted to Blue for saving her life, she just says fuck it and marries him. That's a good life lesson, ladies. If a man ever helps you out, marry him and do whatever he wants for life, it's your duty. I guess the devs figured by the end of the game you would just want it to end so badly, they didn't even bother making a real ending to reward you for spending $50 beating this.
So how do we feel about Blue's Journey? Well, it's terrible, and don't buy it, especially off of eBay for the $2,000 that people are asking for it. That's a fucking ripoff. And that's all, folks. Welcome back to the channel. It's great to be back. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks for tuning in.
Because a surprise, singular, one surprise, but it says she's going to get a face full of jizz and she's going to like it. So which one is the surprise? What, that she gets a bunch of jizz on her face and she wasn't expecting it? Or that once the jizz is on her face, she finds that she actually likes it?